Hey guys, Corey again. Today we are going to go over the, what do you call this thing? Stripe payment best practices. So this came from an event called Level Up Summit in 2023. I'm not sure exactly what it was, if it was held as part of a bigger event or something like that. I think it was. This has got the Go High Level, what do you call that? Logo on the top of it. So, and I did get this from Go High Level. The payments best practices from Kim Newworth, product, I guess Stripe product team, something like that. And these are just really the best practices for dealing with Stripe and not getting your account restricted, shut down, uh, chargebacks, those kinds of things. So since we use Stripe quite a little bit in processing, especially things like reoccurring bills, reoccurring payments, then this is just really about Stripe and the best practices use it. I found most of the stuff was pretty interesting. I went through it already. Yeah, I thought I'd just go through it with everyone else. And it's not working. Oh, there we go. So she's worked with Stripe from Stripe and worked with High Level and making sure that you're good to go on your website. Let me see if I can shrink this down a little bit. There we go. And best practices save you money, save you time, frustration, and financial. Infrastructure helping businesses grow. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I thought this was interesting here. Lots of countries, 46 countries, they have 2 million plus customers and they got 4,600 joining a day. Oh, there was something about the value. It's maybe not on here how much they've processed, but this is called 5 nines right here. That's a pretty good uptime. 5 nines. So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to make this switch around. So right away they talk about setting up your business details, and it's not clear exactly what they're trying to say right here. I got a fan turned on. What they're trying to say right here, as far as which details you need when. I know it has some things as optional. So I think that kind of the key is you want to get your business information in there and as complete as possible. And it gives them more confidence and more security that you're actually a real business and doing things the right way. An EIN is one of the most important things for sure because the billing is related to that. Move my picture here a little bit. And they say as you grow, you may need to provide additional information. And it is it's just more info as they risk more chargebacks. Basically, I would say when they are actually charging things, there's a certain amount of money that could end up going back to the customer. So yeah, it's important that they keep a buffer, you keep a buffer, and be prepared for chargebacks and for just refunds. That is the wrong way. All right. So why account disruptions occur, how to avoid them, chargeback and dispute best practices, and pro tips for your business to consider. Why do account disruptions occur and how to avoid them? So this, of course, Stripe continuously monitors and verifies the activities and validates to protect businesses. So I'm sure that's for fraud reasons and so forth. I've found that these companies tend to be protecting themselves, but they do have, I mean, they are protecting you from fraud in certain ways, but the credit card companies end up with a lot of responsibility there too. So common issues: high dispute rates, unclear product offering, and URL integrity. So that one's interesting, URL integrity. So free trials must be clear. And I think that this is an example of 30 days free, maybe not, I don't know, then $39 a month. I think it's hard to read that for me. And it is, I don't know, that's a little bit unclear. I mean, they are focusing on the 30 days free, but I think that one probably could be a little more clear personally. I don't have any context with this to see whether or not this was a good example or a bad example. Here is one of the other common issues, which is they're calling it hyperbolic statements. They're saying guaranteed to increase your revenue by 100% plus, versus high likelihood for future. They're saying that's a high likelihood for future disputed payments. And really that's a claim. So you want to stay away from those. You want to, things, if your product does something, then it does that, but make sure that you're clear on it. And they're saying to bookmark this. We're going to have a whole bunch of things to bookmark at the end. Last page has got a bunch of these things, but support.stripe.com is the root of these. They're in their documents and other tools to be able to see what you're looking at for processes like disputes, etc. So chargeback dispute best practices. This is okay. So this is what the disputed payment process looks like. So the cardholder is charged. So they kind of have this virtual charge thing going on, and then they end up disputing it. So the cardholder disputes the charge with their bank. The very first thing that happens is the cardholder bank retrieves funds from Stripe. Stripe immediately recovers funds from the merchant. They got their, serious risk there for them, right? Anyway, Stripe alerts the merchant. So they've taken the money already. The cardholder has taken money from Stripe. Stripe has taken money from you, from your merchant account, and then they let you know. At this point, there are three things you can do. You can do nothing, which do nothing leads right over here to cardholder's bank upholds the dispute. Fee and charge not returned to the merchant. So there's a fee. You have right here, Stripe recovers the funds from the merchant and assesses a dispute fee. That happens, then they let you know. So if you don't do anything, then you go right to this, which is the cardholder's bank upholds the dispute. They keep the money and the fee. Stripe keeps the fee, the bank keeps the money, and you went backward. You didn't just negate your purchase. You actually lost money, additional money. You can accept the dispute, in which case the cardholder's bank upholds the dispute. The fee and charge are not returned to the merchant because they were already taken. Then the other one is you can submit evidence. Stripe then sends that to the cardholder's bank. The cardholder's bank reviews the evidence. That's these guys that took the money in the first place, took the money back. They review the evidence, and then they've got two choices. They either go here and they uphold the dispute, and the fee and charge is not returned to the merchant, or the cardholder's bank overturns the dispute, the fee and charge returned to the merchant. So the dispute fee is taken out of your account first. It's only returned if the dispute is ruled overturned by the bank. So you can tell you're in a pretty risky position overall, and none of these other players in here are risking anything, honestly, because they got their money back before you even found out there was an issue and a fee. So one of the things to mitigate this is to make your refund policy clear. Refunds take 5 to 10 days to appear on a customer statement. Stripe fees from the original payment won't be returned, but there are no additional fees for the refund. That's probably true too. Their original payment, their original fee is you probably charge that plus the dispute fee. Anyhow, that's just the return process or the refund process. Another thing they say is to put a company name on the statement descriptor so that you are clear who that is, because I see things on my my credit card, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then, you end up chasing it down or disputing it. So be sure you're clear what it is that you are showing up as on the bill. Notify customers before processing their payment, especially for subscription. So this is send out, they're saying send out emails for upcoming renewals. And that's probably important as a new subscription. I mean, how many people have got subscriptions? They just get charged. They don't get any notice at all. Establish an internal dispute process, review, understand, decide to accept or challenge. So remember, accept just goes right to they're not going to overturn it. They're going to keep the money and the fee. So really, if you want to do anything, you want to dispute it. You want to plan to challenge or dispute as soon as possible. Right there, submit evidence to the Stripe dashboard, and then check the dispute status. There'll be a link later on where that dispute status is. Charge customers as close as possible to the date which they receive your service. So that just keeps it, kind of congruent in their head, kind of correlated to the event of the service and the event of the charge. It'll all line up in their head a little better. So keep funds in reserves. Assume refunds will happen, which is true, and that's kind of mentioned that earlier. Make it easy for customers to contact you with any issues or complaints so that they don't just revert and go to a chargeback scenario. So then this is saying, track your dispute activity on your Stripe dashboard. I guess keep yourself informed to a degree. We're going to have a link of where this is available to you as a Stripe user. Pro tips. Customers want to make a purchase with their preferred method. Now, I found this interesting. It says, which is they're making that statement, but then they're saying, oh, here's a laundry list of payment methods can lead to decrease in conversion and increase in maintenance work. Yeah, I see that. There's a lot of stuff here. Personally, I just usually put on like Stripe and PayPal, credit card processing capability, and then PayPal. PayPal actually can process credit cards also. So I guess kind of the example is don't have a whole bunch of these things on there, like every single possible way, but then, they do want their preferred method. Oftentimes I will turn on Google Pay and or GPay they call it, and Apple Pay. Yeah, it's Google Pay right there, GPay in the little box. I turn those on. Those will oftentimes allow an express checkout if they're available. So BNPL are increasingly used. So that is buy now, pay later is what I kind of figured out. And they're doing payment plans here, get paid up front. You get paid by somebody who makes a loan, you reach more customers, increase conversion, and boost your average order value, AOV. So this is kind of, I guess, the plan of how this works. You get paid immediately, $100 bill for the product minus some fees, and then these guys do, they're paid later. Oftentimes you charge a little more when you do the buy now, pay later. So I guess you would end up having that work out because this is just straight. This is $100 and that is $100 minus the fees. So you're going to get charged some fees for it, but it's basically a consumer installment loan. Optimized checkout suite. Using Stripe's optimized checkout suite, saw 10.5% average revenue growth. Don't know exactly what they're working on here or talking about. What I did find interesting was they're doing a payment method A/B testing. And I found a situation where we had PayPal first on the list, and then we had the credit card second. And people would see the PayPal and go, well, I don't have PayPal. And so they wouldn't do anything. They would stall them on the checkout. They would actually bounce. They would bounce the cart out of the cart. So we changed the order of that. I actually just changed the order because we were getting phone calls and we were having to walk. Well, we'll just look down the next line. Oh, look at that. It's right there. So we flipped those and the people that do PayPal, they see it down below the regular Stripe checkout. So put Stripe first and then PayPal second is what we ended up doing. Payment controls, yeah. So payment method controls, it's mostly you just turn these things on and off, whatever you want to present during a checkout. And I do try to keep it pretty simple, really quite simple. Typically Stripe and PayPal. A lot of people doing that, and put the Stripe first, as I said. And then actually the Google Pay and Apple Pay, you can turn those two on as an express checkout, and those will actually have their stored credit card and consumer information in Apple, in Google, and that will give you a very fast checkout, kind of Amazon-esque style checkout. So those are good things to turn on because they don't get in the way typically. And if someone has an Apple phone, then when they're checking out, the Apple Pay will be right there, and they'll have their stored credentials and credit card info. And Android is Google. In-person payments, yeah, tap to pay on iPhone, tap to pay on Android. So that's the NFC. I think that's what it's called, NFC. Anyway, near field communication that you set up, and then you can just tap this where the credit card goes, and shows right on their phone. You don't even need a credit card. The information is stored in Apple Pay and in Google Pay on their phone. Let's see, automate tax calculation and collection. I guess that's just a standard thing anymore. So based on the zip code of the purchaser, then you would potentially collect tax. Interestingly, there are certain zip codes that are in certain cities that have higher tax rates than they've got the state tax, and then they have the city or county or whatever tax. Get paid instantly. Yeah, I don't know what this thing is. It sounds good, but available now, $79.20. They took off 80. They took instant payout fee, 1%. So maybe, just maybe, they're talking about accelerated payment to you, where they take 1% of the fee, plus they're going to charge you the other 2 or 3%, but this is a instantaneous, we'll take 1% and we'll risk all that for you. So Stripe Radar, I'm not exactly sure what it is, because I don't know how you're going to prevent fraud and losses, but because the credit card worked. If it works, then you've got the trust of, you're trusting Stripe, you're trusting MasterCard, you're trusting Visa, that they have only cards in the field that are valid. So you have no control or access or anything to any other information. So I don't know what this means here. I did think this was interesting, though, that there's disputed over here, and there's fraudulent disputes, which are like, 5 times as much as the other disputes. So I don't know. I assume there are a lot of fraudulent disputes. People just trying to figure out how to get something for nothing. So this one is okay. These are some rules, and I don't know where to set these rules, these conditions, but it's called 3DS, it looks like. And I'm not sure what that, 3D secure authentication. So 3-dimensional, I don't know. But the, so it looks like there's a required for card, recommended, or is supported. So if it's supported on the card, then it looks like they're saying you should request the 3DS, the secure authentication, if it's supported on the card, which would cover recommended or required. So if it's supported, then that should cover that. And then this one I thought was interesting, the card country. If it is this exclamation means not equal, that exclamation is equal. So it's saying if the card country does not match the IP country, So the IP address of the phone, if the country is wrong for that card, then it's going to request this 3D secure authentication. So I thought that was interesting that they are capturing the IP address, comparing it to the country, and then determining whether or not you go through this secure authentication. This, I'm not sure what these things are here, but it's got some, don't do this, review these under these conditions. All right, so here's the one. I'll move my picture over here. These are helpful links. Take a picture of the slide. So I went through and I took all of these links and I created a little folder in my browser bar, bookmarks bar, with all of these things. And then I went through the best practices and took a look at that. I looked at all of them, but they've got best practices, prevent fraud, disputes, and network monitoring programs. Anyhow, that's what I have for today, and I am in the process of building more and more things for my air agency. So these are the things that I'm looking at and walking through. There are a lot of moving parts, and it's interesting to find out just exactly what things apply where and how. So that's why I'm walking through them and making some videos on them. I hope you enjoy.